Dave Chappelle's Sticks and Stones. Controversial or common sense? Welcome to the Wright Brothers Reviews. Howdy y'all, welcome to the Wright Brothers. I'm Trey Felder, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff that helps us make the channel grow. This is not about us, this is about y'all. So let's get into it. What's up with Dave Chappelle's new Netflix streaming special, Sticks and Stones? Well, unless you've been living under the world's most ginormous rock, you know that he has a new special streaming on Netflix right now. Go see it, Sticks and Stones. It's worth a watch. Why is it worth a watch? Let's get into it. Now, personally, I was already looking forward to the return of Dave Chappelle. Just hearing the name transports me back to the early 2000s when he was literally the hottest name in the comedic game. In a time when PC culture was still relatively nascent, Chappelle habitually pushed the limits with his Chappelle Show comedy skits, and those are still comedy gold to this day. And today's day and age, most TV shows would be hesitant to even come anywhere close to something so risque, but Dave Chappelle was a pioneer on that front, and he continues to push those boundaries in his new special. Now, for me, as a young man still figuring out my humor tastes and my political tastes, Dave Chappelle was the first major comic that I can remember that could send me into peals of laughter, poking fun at figures that I actually supported and respected. In fact, one of my favorite all-time sketches of his is Black Bush from his Chappelle Show, and honestly, it still puts me in stitches to this day, even though I was an ardent Bush supporter back in the day. Needless to say, Chappelle's content filled up my favorites folder on my college laptop. Let's just leave it at that. Now, Dave Chappelle stepped away from comedy and really from public life in the mid-2000s for a variety of personal and professional reasons. He actually pokes fun at that at the start of his special. He says one of those reasons was that we, the audience, just became way too hard to entertain. And of course, I am paraphrasing that greatly. You'll find you have to do that a lot with Chappelle's content in polite company, assuming that y'all are of the polite variety. Don't answer that question. But anyway, his departure left a gaping hole in the industry, one that many tried and failed to fill, and it really wasn't adequately filled in my opinion until the advent of Kevin Hart, who everybody of course loves and appreciates, and we wish him all the best on our channel, recovering from the auto accident he recently sustained. But even the most ardent Kevin Hart supporters who are my age and older will probably tell you that they really wished for a return of Dave Chappelle just because of his unique delivery and style, and something that we really hadn't seen a lot before, and definitely not since, as PC culture kind of took more hold in American society. So obviously, when news broke of Dave's new special, I was already interested, but then I started hearing some scuttlebutt on the interwebs about it being panned by mainstream media, some left-leaning outlets. Looking at you, Vox. Thanks for that shout out and unassuming recommendation on your part. Really appreciate it. So yes, it went from must-see TV to super-duper must-see TV. I don't know. I don't have Chappelle's or Kevin Hart's comedic chops. All I have are dad jokes, so that's about the tippy top of what you'll get from me. But let's just suffice it to say that it went from being something I really wanted to see to something I really wanted to see when I started seeing all the controversy that it was generating. Now, I'd be doing all of y'all an incredible disservice by spoiling the special here, so I'm not going to do that. But let's just suffice it to say that with his inimitable delivery, Dave Chappelle wins his way through the set by taking aim at social issues, taking aim at politics on both sides of the aisle, taking digs at himself and even at random audience members. It's vintage Dave Chappelle, exactly what we wanted to see from him in his triumphant return. In fact, Dave's set would be almost indistinguishable from his early 2000s sets. He makes salient points with the audience and leaves us to grapple with what we deem acceptable in today's mainstream so-called cancel culture. It really is a fascinating introspective into how we digest comedy as a society in 2019. Of course, you can't please everyone, but in this instance, the most agitated seems to be on the left side of the aisle. Shocker, fancy that, right? In fact, the shrillest among them have already pegged Dave Chappelle as a white supremacist. Yes, you heard that right. Apparently, Dave Chappelle now supports white supremacy because of Sticks and Stones, and those who are making those claims are vowing to get his special removed from Netflix. So good luck with that. But I mean, if you looked at Rotten Tomatoes, for example, you'd think that most of America agreed with him. In fact, despite a 99% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes given by audience members, the critics who have signed up, who've stuck their toe in the water to review it, have almost universally panned it. In fact, as of last week, it had a big fat goose egg, a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. And it's not often that you see that disparity of 0% from critics and 99% from the audience on anything on Netflix, much less a comedy special of this caliber. But shout out to fellow YouTuber Jeremy Johns. His YouTube channel, he was the first kind of major media guy, and of course I say that loosely because we're talking about the YouTube space here, but he was the first guy to kind of stick his neck out there and be like, you know what? I liked it. This is a guy who's willing to go there, make people uncomfortable. And since Jeremy Johns' positive review, there have been a few others. I think as of this recording, it's sitting at 38% positive from critics on Rotten Tomatoes. So maybe those numbers will bump up now that he's thrown his hat in the ring. But give Jeremy Johns a look. He's not affiliated with this channel at all. He has no idea who we are. I've been a follower of his for a while. But we need more people like him in this space so that it's not just dominated by leftists who are so sensitive to PC triggering sensibilities in Hollywood, and to kind of give us a little bit more of a voice of the people, kind of an everyman's reception to the type of comedy that Dave Chappelle has always brought to the table. So good on you, Jeremy Johns. Check him out if you can. That's the kind of progression that we would like to see when it comes to entertainment. And I think all of us would like to see a little bit more balance just in general. Bottom line, good comics can get consistent laughs. Great comics can thread social commentary into those laughs. But truly transcendent generational comics can take brazen aim at society's sacred cows and leave their audience in stitches while still leaving them with something uniquely thought-provoking. Sticks and Stones by Dave Chappelle may just have launched him into that rarefied air of transcendent generational comic. Time will tell, of course, but as of right now, he is the leader in that department. So anyways, y'all, that's the review. Let us know what you thought about Dave Chappelle's latest special, Sticks and Stones. Was it as controversial as you thought it would be? Was it too controversial? Was it mostly common sense? How do you think we go from here when it comes to digesting comedy? As always, help us grow the channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. We can't do this without y'all. Y'all are the ones that help us spread the word that identity politics is dead. Check out Damani and I on social media. Check out our Facebook page, at the Wright Brothers IPID for Identity Politics is Dead. Or if you're so led, support us on Patreon as well. We're out there. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for everything you do. Go check out the special. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And as always, thanks and gig 'em.
The first revolution is when you change your mind about how you look at things and see that there might be another way to look at it that you have not been shown. The revolution will not be televised, and be no rerun, brothers and sisters. The revolution will be live.